Hello and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today I'm gonna show you how to beat Kirara's Echo Challenge. I already went and beat it myself and it surprised me with how different it was from Jean's trial, which I unlocked last month. So I'm gonna share how I did it, what I think you should do if you wanna beat it, and show a successful attempt with a free-to-play build. Now the main thing that sets Kirara's Echo Challenge apart from Jean's, and maybe also the others, I don't know that yet, I haven't tried them yet, is that it consists of two parts, and only the second part you actually have to fight enemies. In the first part, you have to collect 73 electroparticles within 2 minutes instead. And only if you beat that part, you can move on to the second, where you have to defeat 3 of these Inazumen Nobushi in 1 minute. And these guys are quite tanky, but I'm gonna show you how to beat them in this video. But first, let's go over part 1 of the challenge. You start at the bottom of a mountain next to one of these time trial thingies, and basically have to make your way up the mountain while collecting all the electroparticles on the way. You will constantly reach walls and cliffs that you have to climb, but climbing them normally will take too long and will consume too much stamina. So what the game wants you to do here is use Kirara's skill. The old version of the skill lets you scale walls quickly and with minimal stamina consumption. After scaling the first wall, just run over to this wind current and fly towards the next wall. At this point, your skill should be off cooldown, so you can just use it again here. Then just continue following the path of the electroparticles, and don't worry if you run out of stamina at some point, just walk for a little bit instead of sprinting to recover the stamina, and you will still have more than enough time to clear this. It is important that you have some stamina for the wall climbing segments, like this next one here, where you have to climb sideways along the wall for a while. After that, make sure you also have enough stamina to glide over these gaps here, and then you'll already be almost at the end. Again, make sure you have enough stamina and then climb up this tree using Kirara's skill. On my first try I actually ran out of stamina in the middle of climbing this and then fell down and had to proceed climbing normally since the skill was on cooldown, and then I ended up running out of time while only missing one single particle. So yeah, to avoid this, just make sure you have stamina for this part. But if you do everything right, you should actually have a decent amount of time left at the end. I did it several times and usually had around 30 seconds at the end, so the timer isn't actually very tight, so even if you do make a mistake somewhere along the way, you still might be able to make it. Now the second part of Kirara's Echo Challenge is probably the more difficult one, because of how tanky these 3 Nobushi are and how little damage Kirara usually does, since most players build her for shielding, not damage. But even a DPS Kirara might struggle here, since there's no way to trigger Aggravate, or I guess it's called Spread in her case, since she's Dendro. DPS Kirara kinda relies on that reaction, but what they actually want you to do here is utilize the Bloom reaction instead. Because during this battle, you and the enemies will stand in shallow water, meaning that Hydro is constantly applied, and that allows Kirara to trigger a lot of blooms with her skill and burst. When I beat this trial, I was still using the same build I had in my recent C6 Kirara showcase video. I highly recommend you check that one out if you haven't already. And this is mainly a shield focused build with the Key of Kajni suit. And this weapon was kind of the saving grace for me, since it gives a lot of elemental mastery, which of course increases bloom damage, so I was barely able to make it with only like 2 seconds to spare. But most people of course don't have this limited 5-star weapon, so for this video I'm actually gonna change my Kirara build to be a little bit more free-to-play friendly, so it's easier for you to replicate. Basically what you wanna do is just stack as much EM on her as possible to make the blooms as strong as possible. Nothing else really matters, just elemental mastery. And for this I'm actually gonna use the free-to-play craftable sword Iron Sting, but you could also use the Tokubo Shigure, for example, if you have it. This was a free event weapon that we got a while ago, so if you played during that time you might have it, and you can definitely use it for this instead of the Iron Sting. Another free-to-play option is the Dark Iron Sword. There are only 2 of these in the game, one in Liyue Harbor, you get it by talking to this guy, and one is in Shenyu Vale during the world quest Wangshan Walk to Remember. Though you only really need one of them for this, refinements don't really matter, it's really just about the EM substat. And there are of course also some gacha exclusive options as well that you could use if you have them, like the Alley Flash for example, or the Xyphos Moonlight. Though I actually wouldn't really recommend using Alley Flash, because its EM substat is the lowest of all EM swords by far. Then for the artifacts I just went with triple EM, and I even managed to still get 2 2-piece set bonuses, But again, Elemental Mastery is really the only set of importance here, so sets also don't really matter, except if it's an EM set like Gilded Dreams or Wanderer's Troop. You could, for example, go for a 2-piece combination of those sets, but I don't really recommend using 4-piece Gilded, since its 4-piece effect doesn't work if you only have one team member, which is the case in Echo Trials. So my Kirara ended up having over 800 EM, but I don't actually think you need that much, because on my Key of Kashni suit build, my Kirara has just a little bit over 400 EM with all 3 stacks of the key, and like I already said, I was able to actually beat it with that, even if just barely. So to comfortably clear this challenge, I would actually recommend at least 500 EM, and maybe even try to reach 600 if you can, but that should be enough. Or if you want to make really sure and you are able to get to 700 or even more EM, then yeah, there's no reason not to do it. Just go for as much EM as you can. And then lastly, my Kirara is C6 and has her talents at 9, 10, 9, but neither constellations nor talents matter for this. Again, it's really just about the EM and also the level, I guess, because reactions also get stronger with character level, but characters are required to be level 90 for the Echo challenges anyway. So let's go now and see how my EM Kirara fares against these samurai. Just use the skill here right at the start, specifically the hold version of the skill, and then just apply Dendro to them over and over again. As you can see, that generates a lot of blooms, and these blooms are actually doing very good damage. And then the skill ends, and these guys already have less than half HP. You also don't really have to worry about their attacks or about the damage from the blooms, since Kirara will constantly have a shield up during this, which is still beefy enough for this challenge, even with next to no HP investment. Then you just use the skill again as soon as it's off cooldown, and that's basically it. As you can see, stacking as much EM on her as possible basically completely trivializes this challenge. So yeah, that's how you beat Kirara's Echo Trial. And then, all that's left to do, of course, is equip it and enjoy those pretty little flowers or stars or whatever they're supposed to be, trailing behind her while she runs. I really like this Echo, it's probably one of my favorites. I think I might even like it more than Jean's. But yeah, I hope this helped you in case you were struggling with Kirara's Echo Challenge. If you did, please leave a like and also subscribe to my channel for more Genshin and other gacha content. And yeah, have a nice day.